Welcome to the No Limits Podcast, where limits do not exist, where you can create cash flow, equity, and real freedom with the power of real estate.
3, 4. Now, we will begin.
Welcome to the dojo. The dojo. This is Todd Toback, and today we're going to talk about the 9 steps you need to take to hire your first acquisition specialist. But before we jump in today's episode, if you have not been to our website, No Limits Real Estate Investing.com, there is the No Limits Wholesaling Map. This is the massive action plan. And this is going to teach you how to do your first deal, or if you're looking to expand and hire a team and you've already done deals, but you want to do more and get your freedom back, okay, that's when you've got to download the map. So go to nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com and download the map. It's totally free, and it's an awesome blueprint that you can use right now. So in the last episode on the podcast, we talked about 5 signs that you needed to hire an acquisition specialist. And I told the story about Brian and how I was burnt out and tired, and I just felt like I just didn't want to do the business anymore. And I made the hire, I invested in Brian, I did it the right way. And after failing for a short time, man, we found our stride and made a lot of money. Long story short, Brian and I have gone on to make millions of dollars. I got my time back. I've hired dozens of acquisition specialists since then. I've repeated the process. I've created the no limit selling system and trained thousands of investors to go out there and not only do their own deals, but train others. And so if you are at a spot now where you have decided, you know what, I've got to make that acquisition specialist hire. I want to buy my time back. I want to invest the team. I want to lead and grow. I want to expand. I want no limits. Well, then it's time to hire the acquisition specialist. And today I'm going to give you the 9 surefire steps to make a successful acquisition specialist hire. Now, I've learned this through trial and error. I've made a lot of good hires and I've made a lot of bad hires. So believe me, you want to do this the right way. And this process is proven. It is very, very simple. I don't want to say it's easy, but it's simple. And so if you're willing to put in the work, man, you are going to see a return. I can't overemphasize this enough. One of the most impactful things that I've done in my career is to hire that acquisition specialist. So I've talked about the map. I actually got another giveaway for you. If you want to go to nextlevelwholesaling.com, that's another place where you can go. And there's an assessment that you can go. And this also may help you decide or really see where you're at. There's an assessment that will help you score yourself in the 5 areas of your wholesaling business. So go to nextlevelwholesaling.com and you can take the assessment and it'll spit out a score. And you may say, wow, I really need to hire somebody. So let's talk about these 9 steps. I'm really pumped about these because I know that if you implement this, it's going to change your life. I promise you. And so I'm so passionate about this because this was a pivotal moment. I just can't imagine what my business would be like if I didn't do this. So my wish for you is to follow in this path, but to avoid all the mistakes that I've made, right? I'm trying to cut off all of this learning and heartache. So number 1 is that you got to get your mindset straight. Understand that this person will give you freedom. They'll give you time, money, energy, plus the satisfaction and ability to develop leaders and to help somebody else win in a big way. Now, make no mistake, this is going to be an investment of time. I have a very, very good friend. His name is Johnny Pancake. That's his nickname. And he actually owns a breakfast restaurant. And one of the things I learned from Johnny Pancake was that your people, the investment that you put into them, he looks at it as a 6-month jail sentence. Not in a bad way, just that it's going to be time and energy and money. And while he's in this 6-month jail sentence, he's not really going to see a return immediately. But he knows that once he puts in the time, that after 6 months, he is going to be free. And so that's 6 months where he is investing in his company or growing or hiring people, that if he does that day in and day out for 6 months, after that time, your business will be radically changed. So understand that if you start today, right, after 6 months, I promise you, your business will be different and you will be free. So once you've made that commitment, your mindset is there. Number two, you have to understand that you bringing someone on your team is an exchange of value between you and them, right? You have to bring value and they have to bring value, right? You're investing in them and they're investing in you. And so you've got to get your house in order. What do I mean by that? Well, you have to give them something that they don't have. And believe me, you can do that, right? Number one, you've got vision, right? You've had the vision for this business. You've taken risk. You've spent your money on marketing. You've spent your time. You've gained the knowledge and the confidence and hopefully build some systems and processes, right? And so it's really important. I just made this quick list of stuff that you have that they probably don't. Vision, leadership, structure and accountability, leads, training, and process, right? Those are 6 things that you can bring to the table that they don't. Now, what I meant about getting your house in order is that if you don't have any of those things, you're going to have a hard time attracting somebody. Here's the good news. You can change that today. Right? You've got to develop those things, right? A strong vision. You've got to be a leader. You've got to create some structure and accountability. You've got to have leads coming in every day to your business. You got to provide great training or have that training available. Hopefully you have the no limit selling system, right? And then you've got to have some processes. This is all stuff that's worth a lot of money, right? It's worth money to them. It is worth time to them, this acquisition specialist that you're going to hire. Now, if you don't have any of these things, you can start now. And I'm going to talk a little bit about developing a vision here for a moment. But if you are a hot mess, believe me, the only thing that you will attract is more of a hot mess. So if you're like a level 4 on who you are as a business person, you're going to attract a 1. If you are a 10, right? Well, you can attract a 9. If you're a 6, you're going to attract a 2. The lower that you go down on who you are, right, the lower you're going to attract, the bigger the gap is, right? So if you're only a 5, you're only going to get like a 1 or a 2, right? You can attract a 9 if you're a 10. So it's really, really, really important that you are constantly working on yourself and making yourself more attractive to your employees, to your partners, to your vendors, right? You want people to want to do business with you. You have to offer value. So that being said, you can start today. Don't get overwhelmed. Work on one part at a time. Number 3, and this goes back to vision. So you can start right now. I want you to visualize what you stand for. Then I want you to write the expectation of what you expect from an acquisition specialist. What do you expect them to do on a daily basis? How many calls do you want them to make? How would you like them to follow up? How do you want them to interact with customers? How do they represent your brand? How do they interact in meetings? How do they act when times get tough? In other words, your core values and their core values. I talk a lot about this in some of the other podcasts when you're looking to build your business. And again, a lot with my private clients. If you are interested, by the way, in private coaching, you can go to nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/private. I do take on a few clients a year. I'm very, very selective. There is an interview process and there is currently a wait list. So just heads up on that. But your core values is what's going to help you attract the right person. Because if you have an alignment of core values, you can teach and train almost anything. Very, very, very important. And if you have an alignment of core values, okay, you can turn someone into an absolute rock star. Okay, then Once you understand what you stand for, I want you to develop a scorecard. Now, what is a scorecard? A scorecard is and this is still part of step 3 here, is that a scorecard is how you are going to measure performance from your new acquisition specialist. So, specifically, how many calls do you want them to make a day? How many written offers do you want them to send out? What is their proficiency in the systems that you use, right? The database, the CRM that they use. What kind of revenue do you expect them to produce that first 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, right? What is your expectation of them showing up on meetings, right? So put some measurables there, get them out on paper. So now this thing is starting to take shape, right? You know who you are, you know what you stand for, you now attract them. And now when you sit down with them, you can communicate to them what exactly is expected. Do you feel how powerful this is, by the way? For me, when I first started hiring people, I used to just put out an ad. People used to show up. I used to ask them a few questions haphazardly, and I used to be like, oh, you're hired. Right? Can you imagine what those early days look like? I could tell you I got lucky on my first hire. I had a lot of heartache after that. I had a long, hard lesson on hiring and training and doing things the right way. Notice there's a prep here, right? I got really, really serious and I prepared and I put in some work. And so that is my goal for you. Remember, this is an investment of time. Remember this jail sentence that I talked about? Johnny Pancake, by the way, thank you for this. Because after 6 months, you put in this work, man, you are going to be light years ahead of your competition. You are going to be an unstoppable force. Your team is going to be locking up deals when you're on vacation and while you're on sleep. Now, this is not to say that you don't put in work, because you do. You work alongside your team. But it's great when you get to take time off and do these amazing things and your team is making it happen without you. Really, really, really important. By the way, Johnny Pancake always jokes around with me that he works about 6 hours a month. He's put in a lot of time into his business and his team and his employees. And I can tell you that he's got a very, very complex business, which is, if he can do it in his business, you could certainly do it in yours. Okay, so once you've got a scorecard, remember, this is like a cheat sheet for your acquisition specialist. They know exactly what is expected of them. Number 4, you want to write the ad. Now, once you've put in this work, it's going to be really, really easy to write the ad because you know your core values, what you stand for, who you're trying to attract, right? Who you are when you're at your best. You're going to feel great. And so now you could write the ad. And a lot of that's going to spill over to the ad. It should be unique. It should spell out all these things. And I can tell you that most ads, they don't have these scorecards in them. They don't have core values. And this is where you're going to stand out. You want to start to add the sizzle right here, right? All the things that are so awesome about working with you. Maybe it's working remote. Maybe you've got a really cool office culture. Maybe you guys play paintball once a quarter. Maybe you guys do, I don't know, some kind of scavenger hunt, but whatever it is, right? Sell yourself, sell the company, sell the benefits, sell the money, sell the opportunity, sell the training, sell the investment of time into you, sell the fact that you're going to teach them the no limit selling system, right? That I taught Brian, hopefully, right? You are going to start attracting, but remember this, if you don't do this work, how are you going to attract anybody worth anything? Okay. Remember, start to raise your game, put the sell on for this position and mean it. Because you are a rock star. Your company is going to be an unstoppable force, and they are going to get to be a part of it. Also, you want to let people know that this is not a walk in the park. This may be part of your core values, but let them know this is going to be a lot of work and a time commitment, but the reward is there. You don't want people thinking that this is easy money, right? You want people who love to work and put in the time and see that commitment, and people want to make a lot of money. So make that clear. All right, number 5, you want to write your onboarding and training plan. So get a Google Sheet or an Excel spreadsheet and say, okay, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, step 6, and write down all the things that they need to do to get trained, all the way from signing them up for their email to, getting them into your CRM, their customer relationship management software, getting them set up on a phone, getting them set up with business cards or a shirt or a logo, or getting them on the website, getting them to understand the script or how to follow up on the leads, all of these things, getting them to go through the no limit selling system, which I've talked about on this podcast. And so you want to write those out, right? What should they do when it's time for an appointment, and make that list. And so when you have that, you are going to have some real confidence when you have that list, right? You're going to feel great. By the way, one little caveat here when you onboard somebody is do not wait too long to get them on the phone, right? I like to have someone on the phone in some capacity by the third day. So work in some phone time every single day so that they can get going, but keep that checklist. There is tremendous power. All right, number 6. So once you have the ad, you want to put it everywhere. You want to check out Indeed.com, call your local title companies, call all the real estate agents you know, put them in local Facebook groups, put them in the local Facebook real estate groups. You want to send private messages to all your real estate friends, put it at your church, your synagogue, your mosque, all your places of worship, right? Local colleges and universities, and I mean everywhere. Work your circle of influence. This is just like finding motivated sellers. So you need to cast a wide net. Do not expect applications just to pour in, right? Get it out there so that you can get a lot of applications and you can find the cream of the crop. You know, the perfect candidates are not going to pour in. If you're doing this right, you may get 100 resumes, right? And you are only going to hire 1 or 2 people out of the 100 that come in. So you got to keep that machine going, keep marketing. And if you don't find the person that you need right away, keep going. This is a machine. Next, this is step 7, and this is really important. You don't want to wait for these applications to get stale. You need to get back to people immediately. When people see a job or they apply or they say an opportunity, they are hot, right? So anyone good is not going to be there long. And if you get back to someone 3 months from now and they're still not working, there's a problem, right? So make sure that you are on top of these applications. You want to respond to people immediately. So one of the tricks that I've learned is you want to get back to them within 12 to 24 hours and then immediately resell them on the position. So I've created a little video in my company of myself explaining the job, what a great opportunity this is, explaining our core values, that it's hard work, and that they can make a lot of money. So I get them re-excited, I reset expectations, and then once I resell them after that initial quick contact, then you have them jump through a couple of hoops here. So I'll have them maybe send a voice sample or send a video or have them send a written paragraph on how they blasted through adversity or they excelled in a previous position or someplace where they just crushed it in another area of their life. And so we've experimented with different things, but it's real important that you give them some kind of obstacle to get past, because as an acquisition specialist, they're going to face a lot of adversity. And so you want to see, number one, how motivated they are to actually do this, right? First, you got to resell them on the position, but then you want to start funneling people out to see if they're willing to do the work. So you can try different things. Again, they can send a voice sample, maybe a video, maybe a written paragraph on how they busted through adversity or excelled in a different area or something else that, they're particularly proud of. All right. Now, part of that, you also want to be planting the seed that you're going to be talking to references. So at the note at the bottom of any kind of correspondence, I'll say, hey, just heads up, we take our team members very seriously. So we do check on references. So please be prepared to set up references upon a written offer. Okay. And we underline that. Now, I could tell you that those two things are going to scare away a lot of people, right? Because they know that they're not going to be able to come up with real references, or the idea of setting up phone calls with references is going to be hard for them. So out of 100, you are now, once they watch the video and they see that, you may get, 30 people back. So, hey, this is something to work with, right? We're feeling good. We're at this initial screening phase. And by the way, you can have a virtual assistant do that and somebody else in your team if you don't want to do that. So once you have this, then I would start to set up some Zoom interviews, maybe with 8, 9, 10 of these, right? Look through the applications, see who has good communication skills, who actually followed up with this, and who you want to talk to. So set them up. I prefer a tool like TimeTrade or Calendly.com. So you can send them all a time to schedule with you and do 15-minute blocks, do them all in the same day. You can bang out like 10 in 3 or 4 hours. And once you do the Zoom interviews, that's the beauty of Zoom, right? Is take them through their job history all the way back to their first job. All the way back if they worked at Subway doing sandwiches, to if they had a paper route, all the way up to the sales job they had selling cars or what they're doing now. And so take them through that, and you're going to start to see a pattern of winning. Somebody in your world here, this interview world, you're going to say, wow, this person has won every place they've been. Now, on the contrary, you're going to see most people jump around from job to job to job to job to job where they were just mediocre at everything they've done. Do not be impressed with people's experience. The majority of people are just mediocre at a bunch of things. So if people list these job descriptions like I've done this and I've done this and I've done this and I've done this, that's not impressive to me, and it shouldn't be impressive to you. One of the things that we saw when initially we started to make some bad hires in our company is that once we decided to set these people free to their new opportunity, they would put on their resume that they worked at our company. And so many people had hired them because they heard that they worked at our company, but they weren't good. Right. And so, surprise, surprise, is that when they went to go to that new company, they weren't successful in those roles. Right. And it's because it's not where they were, it's who they are. Very, very important. You are not going to be the hero that changes somebody's life. I'm going to repeat that. You are not going to be the hero that changes someone's life. You can take a rock star, someone who has a history of performance, and you can make them even better. Okay. You can take a rocket and you can add some more fuel to that rocket and go to the moon. You're not going to take a rock, okay, and throw it to the moon. That's not going to happen. So very, very, very important. You are looking for a pattern of success, not necessarily experience, but you're looking for a pattern of success wherever these people have worked in the past. By the way, I highly recommend the top grading method. Top grading is a book that was written, I think, in the 90s. And this is where I got a lot of the stuff about really taking the time to understand someone's job history and the pattern of success, and really talking to references and looking for rock stars. So check that out, topgrading.com. Okay. So step number 9 is you want to do a second interview with the top 2 or 3. And what I like to do is go deeper in every single one of the questions that I asked in that initial interview. And again, I'm looking for rock stars to see how people succeeded in adversity, how people succeeded in tough situations. Again, I'm looking for the 5'6" kid who learned how to play basketball, right? I'm looking for the kid with a stutter who learned how to become an excellent salesperson and who was number 1. I'm looking for that, administrative assistant who decided that administrative assisting wasn't for her, but still in that job rose to the top, right? And help her boss go from 500,000 to $1 million, right? And knew that sales was her calling in that job. Again, you are looking for the clues that people leave that they are successful. So go through that a second time and take them through line by line. And again, on this, remind them on the second interview that you are going to give them, if you feel like you are, a conditional offer based on them setting up references with their former employers. Now, after this, you're going to have 1 or 2 people say, hey, I'm interested or not. You want to make the offer to the top person. Now, at this point, one of 2 things has happened. Number 1, you are ecstatic and you've got 1 or 2 people that you want to hire and you are pumped. Or you have an uneasiness that no one through your process has really shown any potential. So I want to encourage you that if you are on the side of, I'm just not feeling it, right? I've got a bunch of mediocre candidates. Keep the marketing process going. Keep marketing, bring in more candidates. Do not hire a mediocre candidate because you feel like you need to hire. It is okay to hire nobody. Keep going until you find the right person. Now, if you have one or two people who you really want to hire, by the way, it is okay to hire two people, right? It is definitely okay to hire two people. And I've done other episodes on how to hire sales reps on 100% commission. But the final step is that if you found those rock star or rock stars, right? And this is 9, possibly a bonus number 10, is make an offer and make a big deal. You want to send a formal offer letter. You want to put it on letterhead. You want to make it look like you put the time and energy into this and make a big deal about it, right? You want to then bring them on. You want to introduce them to the other team members. You want to send a fruit basket or some flowers to the house, right? To see the spouse, right? Bring them into the fold and get them really, really excited. Even if you have offshore staff, right? Bring them into the mix and make a really, really, really big deal. Now, once you have them on, you should be really excited because you have your entire onboarding plan, step by step by step by step by step. Okay. And then you want to execute that. So here's the great part is that this is either going to work and now you're going to execute this plan. You're going to put in this 6 months and you're going to invest in them and it is going to be awesome. And before you know it, you're going to be closing deals in your sleep. You're not going to have to answer the phone in the evenings or on the weekends, and you're going to be making money. Or there's a chance that something goes awry. It doesn't work out, right? Well, I'm going to tell you to keep your head up and repeat the process, right? Do not stop. One other little bonus thing that I'll share here is that you always want to be recruiting. The worst time to hire someone is when you need to, right? Remember how I talked about where you feel that uneasiness, where you just can't find somebody, but you might want to hire that person, where you feel like you want to hire that person because you just need somebody? That's a bad place to be. So you always want to keep this marketing machine going so that when the time comes, you can just pluck somebody right off your bench. So I hope you enjoyed the 9 steps to hire your first or next acquisition specialist. If you have not taken the assessment, you can go to nextlevelwholesaling.com. And again, that'll score you in the 4 core areas of your wholesaling business. If you had not shared the show, please copy and paste the link to wherever you consume the content and share it with somebody who you know needs to hear it. And please, I cannot wait to hear about your success. If you, by the way, are enjoying the show and you are making money or you've got a success story, I would love to hear from you. So send that to Brett@, NoLimitsRealEstateInvesting.com, and I will talk to you on the next episode.